Welcome back to Migration News, and you're speaking with Traci Chen.
Hi everybody, my name is Traci Chen. I'm an immigration lawyer based in Australia, and today's topic is going to be about student visas. Crazy to think that Australia is back to normal now, basically, with borders reopening. Like, you know, tourist visa holders are traveling in and out of Australia again, student visa holders as well. It's crazy to think that, you know, 1 year, 2 years ago, it was all at a standstill and nobody really knew, you know, what the future kind of held. It's crazy to think it's back to normal now. And we've seen a huge increase in student visa applications and people wanting to come to Australia to study. So in today's video, I'm just going to talk about the general requirements for a student visa, some things to look out for, and so basically some tips for those who are looking to apply. As you guys know, I am the principal lawyer at Mason Chen Law Group. We have a number of offices in Australia and lawyers and agents working in basically every state in Australia. I'll leave a link below with our details so you can book a consultation with myself or one of our lawyers. So basically, a student visa is the subclass 500 visa in Australia. So you hear about all these different subclasses. I had a intern who was helping me with our consultation, and they were saying that they knew all these numbers are 500, 600, 189, 190, all these different visa types. It's numbers here in Australia. I was watching 90 Day Fiance the other day and they're talking about K1 visa, K3 visa. I'm like, why does that sound so much cooler than, you know, these numbers? Anyway, today's video is going to be focused on the subclass 500 visa. So let's talk about some of the basic eligibility requirements for this visa. When you have this visa, it will be granted for the period of your enrollment for the school. The visa costs about, I think, $600 to apply for. You may have legal fees for that and obviously your school fees for that as well. You would be able to travel in and out of Australia, but obviously your visa condition is that you must pass your course, complete your course, and be a good student in general. You will be allowed to work. The condition is that you can work up to 20 hours per week. However, as you know, Australia has lifted the restriction on that, and student visa holders are now allowed to work over 20 hours per week. However, I do think that that's going to be changed back soon, so let's just go with 20 hours a week for now. And then when you're on holidays and your course is not in session, you can work as many hours as you want. So first of all, basically, you must be enrolled to study a course in Australia, and you must have student health insurance. So what are the requirements of a student visa? Well, depending on if you're a high school student or a university student, there's certain age requirements for that. But obviously, if you're studying high school, you need to be within that age limit. You have to be the right age for that. I'll drop a link below for the age requirement for different year levels. So you're year 8, year 9, year 10, 11, 12. Obviously, if you're under 18, you need to have a guardian or parent come with you to look after you basically in Australia. So for some people, you know, they may have one parent come with them to study, and then for some other students, they may have someone here which has been nominated as their guardian to look after them while they're studying here in Australia. Obviously, for students who are 18 years or older, you don't need to have a guardian, and the age limit for a student visa is kind of more like it has to make sense for the degree or course that you're studying. So, you know, your mid-20s up to mid-30s, it kind of makes, you know, a lot of sense why you'd be coming to Australia to study. Maybe people who are slightly older, there are additional requirements that you'd have to essentially meet to show that you're a genuine student. So basically, before you apply for a student visa, you'd obviously get in contact with a school, an education agency to be enrolled in a program. And the program that you enroll into does actually have a big impact on your student visa and maybe even sometimes the success of it as well. So for example, if you have completed a bachelor overseas, you'd be looking to apply for a master here in Australia. You wouldn't be looking to apply for a diploma here in Australia. I'm not saying it doesn't work, it does, but most definitely it does increase a chance of a refusal because case officers have to assess the application and they'll look at it and be like, this doesn't seem right. Like, why would someone with a bachelor or a master want to come and study a diploma in Australia? It just doesn't seem normal. And that's when it raises issues of the genuine student and genuine temporary entrant requirement, which I'll talk a little bit about later. So when you're looking at courses, you will get counseling from, you know, the school and the education agent, and they will advise you of this. So it's very important to speak to someone first in regards to this rather than just, you know, applying on your own. And look, if your application is accepted, you will get a confirmation of enrollment, something we call a COE, and that's what you will use to basically apply for the student visa. Now, depending on your country of passport, what you're studying, there is different English requirements. So for example, for some countries of passport, you may need to have at least 6 in each band for an English test. So for example, for IELTS or a PTE, which would equate to, I think, 50 in each band. So it just depends on that. And again, your school will be able to advise you on that. Obviously, there is exemptions for these English requirements as well. And obviously, if you come from an English-speaking country, such as UK or USA, you'd most probably be exempt from that. Then we have the two major requirements, and usually the two major reasons why your visa application could be refused. It's really hard to explain, but basically I'll give you some examples so you can really put it into perspective. So the first requirement is that you must have enough money. And it makes a lot of sense. You have to have enough money for at least first year of living expenses and school fees in Australia. So the rule of thumb would generally be $20,000 to $30,000 because that's how much it will cost to study and live in Australia for the first year. They will factor in that when you come to Australia, you could, take up a part-time job to support yourself. But do remember, you're here to be a student and study. So your main focus should be studying in Australia. So rule of thumb, $20,000 to $30,000 Australian to show as funds. It is good if you do show those funds yourself or from your family member. Some people have used Australian family member as well, but again, all these things could contribute to a visa refusal. So when you are looking to apply for this and you're getting your advice from your migration agent or lawyer, if they've given you advice on, how much money you need to show, make sure you try to provide them that evidence. How do you show this? Usually it's through your bank statement. So you have the funds that are liquid and readily available for your studies and living first year in Australia. So bank statement is usually the way to go. The next thing that they look for is that you are a genuine student. And this is a tough one because, they have their reservations. They do assess certain applications differently. So it's something that's actually quite important. Basically, remember, as I said from the beginning, you are here to study. You are here to study in a fantastic Australian university, college, high school, whatever it is. And then once you're done, the idea is that you will return to your home country. And that's what you need to demonstrate. So you basically need to demonstrate the strong ties to your home country. Now, this is so hard to explain because every country, of passport, all of that, they assess it differently. But basically, you need to demonstrate that you will most likely return back to your home country. So that might mean that you have assets back home, which again is silly. Like, what student has, assets back home? But look, you can show your parents' asset because so usually, you inherit your parents' assets. And if your parents have a lot of houses, businesses overseas, and you're studying a course that's relevant for you to go back and, work in that business or whatever it is, that makes for a very strong application. So it's really important to be able to show that. And this is the one that usually always gets people because it's hard to demonstrate all of that, especially as a student. But I think if the application's presented properly, the evidence is there, you should be able to meet that criteria. But just do remember, if you're looking at anything and you're working with your agent, working with your immigration lawyer on any part of the application, the two ones you need to focus on is obviously the funds and that you're a genuine temporary entrant. You also usually attach a letter, a statement. We call it a GTE statement, so a genuine temporary entrant statement, basically. In that statement, we talk about, the reasons why you want to study in Australia, how you will support yourself in Australia. So with funds overseas, usually that's the one thing they look at. Why you wanted to study this course. They want to know that you're actually truly interested in this course. Obviously, not here to just, try and study something and apply for permanent residency. That is not the point of this program. It's to encourage people to come study in Australia, and it is what it is. People stay on to work and people stay on to apply for permanent residency, but that is something that we don't talk about in this student visa application. So basically, it is all the reasons why you want to study this, why you chose Australia, why you even chose that school even perhaps. And then once you're done, you're going back home. And that is the purpose of the student visa program here in Australia. Now, obviously the processing time during COVID slowed down significantly. And I think that there was more refusals during COVID. I just think that the threshold was higher. And so, it just seemed like there was more refusals happening during that time. However, it appears that with everything that's happening, changing government, all that kind of stuff, I think we're going to see a lot more activity. I think we're going to see a lot more students coming back to Australia. So I think the processing time, they'll be back to normal. Because it should be. Like during COVID, it was taking like 6 months, a year or whatever. It shouldn't be happening. Like, how do you plan for your studies if that happens? So it should go back. It should be back down to 2 weeks or something like that. Before COVID, it was like 2 weeks, a month max sometimes. So overall, shouldn't take too long to get the student visa grant. Again, usually you would have your immigration lawyer, agent, some education agencies, have agents in there who help the students with the application. Do make sure you do get assistance with this because it is tricky, especially for some passport countries. And that is just the way it is. Once you do get the student visa, you've come to Australia to study, maybe it's a bachelor, maybe it's a trade qualification, maybe it's a master degree. Once you come here and study and all of that, that you should be eligible to apply for the 485 post-study work visa. And as you know, there's been some massive changes to that as well. Now, if you guys found this video helpful today, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with people who need it. I'll left a link to our contact details below. Now, we also send out regular updates to our email subscribers of the updates in migration. And I've also launched my mini courses, which is available on courses.tracimigration.com.au, which has a variety of different courses for a variety of different visas. So make sure you head over and subscribe if you are interested in all the different visa types and migration programs in Australia. My name is Traci Chen. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you guys in the next video.